Yo, peace was good. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Hip Hop Album Review. This is part 143. The album that I'll be reviewing today is Ghostface Killah's third album, featuring Raekwon, Bulletproof released in 2001. By now, you guys should know who Ghostface Killah is. I did a review on his first two albums, which are Iron Man, which, in my opinion, is his best album. It's, Ghostface in his rawest form. Supreme Clientele, which I did a review on a couple years ago. Definitely check that out. And I did a review on Pretty Tony, which was his fourth album. So I'm going backwards. I'm going ass backwards. No pun intended. So I'm going backwards, and I'm reviewing his third album, Bulletproof Wallets. So, after the critic acclaim, Supreme Clientele, a lot of people gave it rave reviews, people saying like it's his best album and stuff like that. Me personally, I thought it was a dope album, but to me, like with Supreme Clientele, it's his most it's like a more cohesive album than Iron Man. But for me, Iron Man to me was like Ghostface in his rawest form. Like he was just like more grimy, and he's just like on that real street shit. Whereas Supreme Clientele was like more subtle. He still spit the street shit, but it was like more smooth. It's more soulful compared to Iron Man. So getting back to this album right here, like I said, right after Supreme Clientele, he wasted no time. He recorded this album, and this is what the album came about. All right. Right here you can see Raekwon right here, chilling right here with his velour suit. Ghostface chilling, looking fly as usual. You know what I'm saying? Just based on this cover, it kind of gave me, when I first seen it, it kind of reminded me of, like I guess like the vibe. It kind of like saying like, oh, we're back. Kind of like a continuation of Only Built for Cuban Links, which I have to do a review on. I know a lot of you guys been asking me to do a review. I will do a review eventually, maybe soon. I'm not sure when, but I will do it. And a continuation of Iron Man, because Iron Man to me was a continuation of Cuban Links, kind of like with Black Caesar with Fred Williamson. Built for, Cuban Links being built for Cuban Links. Cuban Links being Black Caesar, and Iron Man being like the sequel to that, Hell Up in Harlem. Dope movies. You haven't seen it, highly recommend checking those movies out. And this is just being like, I guess like another movie, I guess, pertain to that. But that's just my opinion. That's what I got from that. Alright, open it up. That's what the actual CD looks like. Alright. Open it up. You know what I mean? And chilling, just posing and stuff like that. Fucking Ghostface cooking up some marvelous shit, you know what I mean? Look like stew, and then look like some type of chicken or something like that. Looks good though, you know what I mean? You see Ghostface got the Crown Royale, I call it Crown Royale. You know what I'm saying? Him stirring up some shit, you know what I mean? Look like a stew or some shit. Alright, open it up. Seen this. And I'm pretty sure you guys seen this picture before online. Well, this is where it came from. And then you guys got the album credits. Alright. There are singles of the album. The singles, the actual single that I know of is Never Be the Same Again with Never Be the Same Again with Carl Thomas. That's the only video that I know that came out with the video. And the song Flowers, but that was like more of an underground single, all right, which I'll explain with that song and stuff like that. Those are the singles. The producers in the album. The producers are Ghostface Killah himself, RZA, shout out to RZA, Devell Bo McKenzie, co-production by Lils and PLX. Allah Mathematics, dope producer, Wu affiliated producer, Chris Ligio, Kenyatta Tally Galbraith, yeah, Alchemist, shout out to my nigga Alchemist. He's fucking, man, Alchemist, he's fucking, yeah, he's putting in work. That's all I gotta say about that, man. he's one of those, he gotten better. He's gotten a lot better, man, over the years. Even though I've always liked Alchemist, but it's like, you know, some people get progressively better. That's the thing with Alchemist. He definitely got a lot better over the years. RZA again, like I said before. College Brody, shout out to him. College 6 July Brody. He's done stuff for like Rush the 5'9". He does stuff for Lot of Dark Man, the Heist of the Century album, another dope album too. Arsonist of Heatmakers, Underdogs, and those are the producers in the album. Features on the album. The features are obviously Raekwon, Method Man and Lord Superb, Carl Thomas, Trife and Twiz of Theodore Unit, Killer Sin, Hold Your Head Up, Killer Sin. I'll talk about that later on. Trife again, like I said, of you know, Theodore Unit, Lord Superb again. Takeda, who was a Wu affiliated singer of Wu-Tang, as well as Blue Raspberry, which I'll talk about later on in the video. Rough Friends, damn, I haven't heard that name in years. Rough Friends is like a late '90s R&B group, and I think they're from like Minnesota or some shit like that. And those are the features on the album. All right. So you know how I get down. I'm gonna break through some of the songs. You know what I mean? All right. Intro, Stairway to Heaven. It's just an intro. You know, it's just him talking and stuff like that. It kind of reminded me of if you guys heard Raekwon's first song, Cuban, Only Built for Cuban Links. It was kind of, you know, the skit was called, I think it was called Strive to Perfection. It's kind of like the same thing with this joint. That's what I got from that joint right there. Track 2, Maxine, pretty dope track. You know, it's just talking about what I got from that song is actually talking about cocaine, and it actually talks about how you got this mom who's like a drug addict and stuff like that, and like, you know, just like her owing money, and it's just like she's on the run from the drug dealers that she owed money from and stuff like that. It kind of reminded me of you know, like a blaxploitation movie from the '70s and stuff like that. You know, that would definitely make a dope movie just based on the songs and stuff like that. Dope drug story right there, pretty cool right there. Track 3, Flowers, featuring Method Man and Lord Superb. Definitely one of my favorite songs. But the only thing with this song is different from the original version that I heard, because this song actually the original song actually was cut from the album because of sample clearances, because it uses the "Take Me to the Mardi Gras" sample by Bob James, which, you know, that the sample wasn't cleared because Bob James, from what I understand, he doesn't clear samples. Like, he's very, like, I don't know, I've noticed lately he's been very, like, against samples and stuff like that, because I don't know, because before mad niggas would sample his shit, but for some reason, you know, Bob James wasn't really having it, so RZA actually had to redo the song, and it sounds alright, but it doesn't sound good as the original. I'll post that in the description box. But yeah, man, the original version, I remember I used to hear that song back in 2001, late at night on Hot 97 when I used to live in New York. Stretch Armstrong used to play the shit out of that song. If you guys lived in New York back in 2001 and you used to listen to the radio late at night, you know Stretch Armstrong with his show. Stretch Armstrong, you know, in your world. Man, I fucking missed that, man. But I remember I used to listen to Hot 97 before I go to sleep. You know, before, you know, waking up to the next day to school and stuff like that. I used to sleep with the radio on to put me to sleep, which is what I'm trying to say. But I used to always hear that song late at night. And I prefer the original over this version. I'll post it down in the description box and stuff like that. A pretty dope posse cut. Definitely one of the most underrated posse cuts in hip hop, in my opinion. You don't really hear too many people talk about that joint right there. I wish there was a video for that. That would have been a dope video. But, you know, it is what it is. Track 4, Never Be the Same Again, featuring Carl Thomas. dope song right there. You know, he's actually talking about in this song. He actually talks about how you know, Ghostface, you know, always being on tour, but then he found out from one of his friends, one of his mans, that, you know, his girl was cheating on him while he was on tour. So he found out, he confronted his girl or his wife or whatever, and well, his wife, because I guess he was married at the time, and you know, he confronted her and she confessed, like, yeah, I've been, you know, sleeping around, I'm sorry, things like that. It's like, yo, how can you do this to me? You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm the one that's pretty much the breadwinner of the house, and he has like, kind of like broke the news to his kids. You know, his kids and stuff, like, they all crying together, just saying like, yo, I gotta leave the house. Me and your mom not really getting along. So, and after that, you know, he told his wife, like, yo, listen, man, you can have the house. I'm out. I'm packing my shit. I'm getting out, and stuff like that. And it's just, you know, Ghostface is just showing you his vulnerability, which around that time was really not the norm like it is now. Like, you know, you got cats like you know, like Kanye, Drake, you know, doing like the whole emo thing and stuff. Not emo, I hate to say emo, but you guys know what I'm trying to say. Cats like Kid Cudi and stuff like that, beyond the whole emotional, showing their vulnerability and stuff like that. Ghostface is definitely doing that way before them cats, you know what I mean? As well as like Tupac and, you know, other artists like that. But it's great to see that, especially around that time, because like I said, that wasn't really the norm. And the other person that was really doing that was actually, you know, Tupac. You know, he was known to bring in emotion to his tracks, but, you know, he died back in '96. And he had other artists, you know, doing like songs like that. But, you know, it was cool to see that side of Ghostface and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure some of my peoples can relate to that. I can't relate because I've never been married, but I could definitely relate being screwed over, you know, over a chick and shit like that. So I could definitely relate to that. But yeah, Carl Thomas, man, he does this thing on that joint right there. There's actually an original version which was unreleased. I'll post it down in the description box. That version was cool, but I kind of prefer the album version, or the one that's out in the that's the video version, I should say, with the R&B type of beat. You know what I mean? It kind of fits the subject matter to the beats. Yeah, it fits the subject matter a lot, in my opinion, and stuff like that. I thought that was pretty cool. Carl Thomas definitely very underrated, definitely one of my favorite R&B singers. His album Emotional, classic right there. Fucking love that song right there. Track 5, the Teddy skit. It's just him talking over like a soul loop and stuff like that. Pretty cool right there. Track 6, Theodore featuring Trife and Twiz. Trife Diesel of Theodore Unit and Twiz of Theodore Unit. What this song is a posse cut. What I got from that joint right there, it's just like introduction to his group, Theodore Unit. It's just showing you guys like, okay, I got a new group. It's called Theodore Unit. These are the guys in the group. That's what I got from that joint right there. It's just like a posse cut, pretty cool. Track 7, Ghost Showers. That was pretty interesting track right there. Kind of has like a club feel to it. You know what I mean? Because but it's kind of weird because the chorus has like a different beat. It has like a really R&B type of track, and then like his verse, it has like a kind of like a party hip hop type of track. Definitely, you could definitely feel like it definitely could be a single. That should have been a single, actually, in my opinion. There's definitely has like that club feel to it. You know what I mean? I thought that was pretty cool right there. Track 8, Strawberry featuring Killer Sin. Killer Sin, hold your fucking head up, man. He's currently serving life in jail due to attempted murder. You know, he tried to shot a dude 6 times in the chest, I think. Like it was like outside of a club or some shit like that. You know, he's Killer Sin. Like, for me, man, he's like, to me, he's my favorite. He's my favorite member of Killer Army besides Don Pacino. But with Killer Sin, unfortunately, he can never stay out of trouble. You know what I mean? He's just so stuck onto the streets. You know what I mean? And it's just unfortunate. But he lends a verse on this track right here. She's actually does the first verse, and to me, his verse was the best out of Ghostface. Ghostface, he did his thing, But I think like Killah outshined Ghostface. That's just my opinion. He had the best. That might as well just been a Ghostface track. I mean, excuse me, a Killah track in my opinion. But you know, it is what it is. Yeah, man, Killah, hold your head up, and you know how they said like the worst thing in life is wasted talent. Killah definitely a prime example of that. You know what I mean? I just wish he just stay out of trouble, man. It's just like fucking crazy, man. Track 9, The Forest, pretty dope track right there. With that song, it reminded me of Ice Cube's Against the Fairy Tale that was actually featured on America's Most Wanted. Where he talks about he uses cartoon characters into street tales like drug street tales and stuff like that. Pretty much the same thing with The Forest. It pretty much he talks about that. He just talks about how Droopy, he got knocked. He's serving time in jail. He converted to Islam. Now his name is Abdul, which I thought that was pretty funny, but it's dope too. You know what I'm saying? But just the way he flips it and stuff like that, and he talks about Shaggy getting shot in the head with his hoodie. It's just so ill, man. The way he flipped that joint right there. Track 10, The Jux, featuring Treff and Lord Superb. Yeah, man, dope posse cut right there. Pretty dope right there. It's interesting because Lord Superb, he did an interview with Doggy Diamonds of Forbes DVD, and he was saying it caused a lot of controversy, where he talked about how he wrote half of Supreme Clientele and some of this album. And I mean, no disrespect to Lord Superb, but I can't really see that. You know what I mean? I just don't see that. You know what I mean? That's no diss to Lord Superb, but I just don't see that shit. And you can just tell, man, like, when you listen to Lord Superb rap, Lord Superb have his own type of vibe, you know what I mean? Ghostface Killah has his own vibe, and he has his own style, you know what I mean? So I just can't see that right there. Yeah, like I said, that's a dope posse cut, The Jux, just sort of on some real street shit right there. That was pretty cool right there. That's actually produced by The Forest and The Jux were both produced by Alchemist. Track 11, Walking Through the Darkness, featuring Takeda. Pretty dope song right there. Interesting fact with that song, that was actually Takeda's song first. She actually has a solo track on the Ghost Dog The Way the Samurai soundtrack, the US version, because there's the Japanese version, which has like the score music, like the background music, like the score, and some like songs that were left off the US version, and then you got like the US version, which has like the skits, like the where you have like Ghost Dog reading like the like some of the stuff in the book, the Hagakure book, which I have right here. One second. What I have it. I can't find it, but I'll post it down later on in another date. Thought I had it somewhere, but anyways, yeah, that song "Walking Through the Darkness" was actually like a solo Takeda's track, and that song is actually featured on the soundtrack of Ghost Dog, the US version, which, like I said, it has like the passages from the book Hagakure and some other songs and stuff like that. But she actually did her thing on that track, but Ghostface did his version. And like she had in Takeda, she kind of has like a hook, like a verse and stuff like that. But Ghostface made it to his song too, which I'll post down in the description box, like his version and her version. You know how I get down, but that's what I got from that joint right there. It's pretty dope track. They have like a dope chemistry. I wish they did like a collab out with just him and her. That would have been dope, but that never happened, unfortunately. Track 12, Jealousy. That's just like a one verse, like right there. It's pretty short. It's just sort of about jealousy, and it's just sort of about how jealousy could get you killed. You know what I mean? It's like one of the worst traits somebody could have. Just because somebody's doing better than you, you're jealous of that person. Like, you shouldn't do that. Everybody can relate to that. I've been through that stage, in my life where like I see people having better shit than me, but just certain things just weren't meant to be. Just live to accept that, and that's what he talks about that joint right there. That was pretty cool. Track 13, The Hilton, which features Raekwon. You know, that's another dope drug kind of like a dope drug story. Which from what I got is that the Hilton is pretty much like it's like a drug deal gone bad, and then like it goes to Raekwon is looking for the people that stole the drugs and the money and stuff like that. It's kind of like wild goose chase with that shit like that, and that's what I got from that joint right there. Excuse me. Track 14, Ice, which is just an interlude. That song right there is very short. You know, it's like about I think like 40 minutes long or like a minute long. But the interesting joint, interesting thing. Sorry, I can't even talk today. About Ice, which is an interlude, like he's just rap a verse right there, is the beat. The beat was actually used by Cameron on his third album, Come Home With Me, with the self-titled track Come Home With Me. But Ghostface used it first. So I thought that was pretty interesting right there. I'll post that track down in the description box too. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Track 15, Love Session featuring Rough Ends. You know, that's an R&B track right there, pretty cool right there. You know, Ghostface doing what he do and stuff like that. Oh, let me get back to Strawberry. I forgot to mention this. It's funny because with Killer Sin, his verse, he actually talks about some street shit. Whereas with Ghostface, he's talking about getting his dick sucked and he's talking about fucking and stuff like that. I thought that was pretty interesting and kind of weird at the same time, but it worked, I guess. But I just thought I'd just throw that out there. Like I said, 15 of Love Session, just him, you know, showing his vulnerability and stuff like that. That song, Love Session, was actually featured on the Barbershop soundtrack. The first one, you know, with Ice Cube, Cedric the Entertainer, and stuff like that. Eve, it's actually featured on that soundtrack. Track 16, Street Chemistry, which features Prodigal Son of Sons of Man, and Trife Trife Diesel of Theodore Unit. That's a pretty dope street track, right? Gangster track, dope posse cut. Prodigal Son definitely mad underrated in my opinion. Definitely a dope way to end the album. And that's pretty much it of this album. My thoughts on the album, I'm gonna give it to you guys straight just like that. When I first heard the album years ago, back in 2001, I bought the bootleg. I didn't have the original album. I bought the bootleg. I bought this album years later. Bought it like a couple years ago. But I didn't like the album. I just didn't like the direction that he was going at. You know, because you know what Bulletproof was, you know, at the time he was kind of going through a lot of shit with his record label, Epic Sony Records. Epic being like a subsidiary of Sony Records and stuff like that. He was going through a lot of shit with the record label as far as like, you know, sample clearances and creative control. He had creative control, but not as much as he did with his first two albums, and you can kind of see that with this album. You know, songs like Never Be the Same Again with the beat changes and stuff like that. And also there were songs that were left off the album. He had a song called The Watch, The Sun, and The Sun with Slick Rick. Very, very dope song. I'll post that in the description box. And yeah, The Watch, The Sun, and Good Times, which uses the sample of Good Times, the sitcom from the late 70s with John Amos and the late great Esther Rolle that played Florida Evans. Rest in peace to her. You know what I'm saying? I'll post all that good stuff on the description box. So, and he talks about that, how like, you know, if those songs were featured on this album, it would have been a better album. But listening back to this album before I did this review, Jesus. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so now listening back to the song, it's not to the album, excuse me. It's not as bad as I thought it was when I first heard it. Is it his best album? No, but it's not as bad as people make it out to be. It's way better than Pretty Tony, I'll tell you that, because with Pretty Tony, you know, he definitely didn't have creative control. You know what I mean? Def Jam was all over that shit. You know, I don't think that album was like promoted well either, because yeah, he had this song what's that song? That song with Mark Ronson. I forgot the name of the song. And that song with Missy Elliott, which was oh my god. But he did have that song Run with Jadakiss and Komp, but that's the remix. The original, or I think that was the original, I don't remember. But yeah, Pretty Tony, like I said, he had no control over that album, like as far as like you know, just like I guess like some of the features on the album and like some of the beat choices, things like that. So I just wasn't crazy about that album either. But this album, like I gave it a chance. You know, it's not really my go-to album, but it's not as bad as I thought it was. It's a decent album. Definitely very underrated. Is it a classic? No, it's not a classic. But it's definitely an interesting time for Ghostface, because, like I said, he was going through some beef with his record label, with sample clearances, creative control, and things like that. But and I read somewhere where Ghostface was saying like how he wasn't really focused when he was recording this album. But you know, it is what it is. But definitely, it's definitely good to add into your Ghostface collection. You know what I mean? But yeah, Ghostface Killah's Bulletproof Wallets, released in 2001. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Stay tuned for more videos. Peace.